Welcome back to Talks with Tay. This is the Hometown Hero series. And of course, today we have the one and only Miss Kiani Else with us, better known as the Responsible Homegirl. You guys already know who I am, your host, D. Taylor Made. Kiani, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Of course. So, hey, y'all. My name is Kiani Else, and like Taylor said, I am the responsible homegirl. So, I was I have a brand called the Responsible Homegirl, but I am the leader, or was the leader, of the Irresponsible Homegirls. But we'll get into that story a little bit later. So, I am from King Street, South Carolina, which is a very small country town, South Carolina. And I'm just that girl with big dreams. And as I accomplish my dreams and make my dreams become a reality, I really just want to help people on the way. So, like I always tell people, like, I'm the person who like loves to serve, loves to help you see the best you, help you become the best version of you. So that's just a little bit about me.
Definitely, y'all. And she mean that when I tell y'all, from the time I met Kiani, like she's always been a bright star. She don't know this, but she actually been a major inspiration in me being able to start my podcast, seeing her consistency and her growth with the Responsible Homegirl. So big shouts out to her with that. She's definitely living in her truth when she tell y'all she that girl. So we're gonna go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna get a little caught up between me and Kiani. We're gonna talk a little bit for those that tune into the podcast that don't know this. I originally started school at the College of Charleston, which is where I met Kiani. So since then, how has life been, Kiani? I know it's been probably some years, some time has passed. What has life been like for you since post undergrad?
Yeah, so I feel like that's such a topic that a lot of people about post undergrad life and like that whole season of like just trying to figure it out and just become the best version of yourself. So when I was at CFC, I was that girl like involved in everything on this exec board, that exec board, internship at the internship, jobs. Like I was heavily involved. So my senior year, I'm applying to all of these jobs and I'm getting denied left and right. So I'm like, hold up, do these people not know who I am? So that was like this whole season of me trying to figure out, like, dang, like the stuff that validated me in college is a whole different ball game in this real world now. For sure. I would say after post grad, yeah, I don't think that I was depressed or anything, but it really made me look inward, like, wow, the stuff that I place value in, none of that stuff really matters. And now I have to figure out a way to really make an impact and really make this work, because these jobs that I'm applying to, like, nobody is really, hitting me up or anything like that. So after post grad, I would say it was a time for me to really explore and get to know myself on a deeper level. Like I realized did not know who Kiani was. I had my identity wrapped up in so much stuff that did not matter. And I really like appreciate like not getting those jobs and not having stuff work out for me, because it gave me time to sit still. And you remember, like, well, we graduated in 2020, the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was like the world was shut down. Nobody really knew what was going on.
Nobody want to hire nobody for real.
Right, exactly. All of that stuff was going on. So I really had to sit down for real. And during that time, I'll say 2020 was the best year of my life, because although things didn't work out the way I wanted to, it was where I started building a relationship with God. I got to know myself on a deeper level. And it was just like, it was so profound. So post grad, it had its ups and downs, but I would say like without that season of my life, like I would not be the Kiani that I am today.
Awesome. Okay. So I noticed that you said a lot about self-growth, a lot about learning yourself. With that being said, who would you say Kiani is now? Like if you were to sit and explain to the people who you were, who is Kiani?
Oof, girl, that's a loaded question. And just being transparent, it's a question that I'm still like figuring out. But first and foremost, I would just say like Kiani is a woman of boldness. Kiani is a dreamer. Kiani is a creative. Kiani is someone who knows that anything that she puts her mind to, if she's exposed to it, if she execute, if she consistently show up, it can happen for her. Kiani is a child of God. Kiani is just this woman who like just embodies, I would just say like confidence, and like I just have this
that glow, that look, that it. Yeah. I
have like these go get a spirit. Like I always laugh and tell my family, like when I'm in something for real, I'm in it. But when I'm out of there, I'm out of there. Like it's just like that with everything, with relationships, with guys, with my career, with just everything. I mean, I'm out. So yeah, I would say that's me.
That's you. I think it's really dope how you led the conversation with saying that you're still learning who Kiani is. Because I think a lot of times at this age, especially when you start to find yourself, it's kind of like once you start that journey. I don't know if you dealt with this, but I did, feeling like that, you had to become very sure of yourself. So being able to be open to the fact that you continue to grow and be transparent and find yourself, I think that's really dope. So I noticed you said there's a lot of parallels between Kiani and the responsible homegirl. It kind of seems like the responsible homegirl is that more mature, more knowing version of yourself. And then you had Kiani who's just like, yeah, I'm still growing, I'm still evolving. So would you say that these are like one and the same, or would you say they represent two different parts of you?
That's a really good question. I will say like Kiani and the responsible homegirl, they're one and the same, but they're also different because I don't want to get to a place where I'm wrapping my identity within my brand. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no.
I don't want my whole identity to be wrapped up in, oh, the responsible homegirl, this platform, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, the responsible homegirl is a reflection of who I am and who I wish I had. So I always share this story. Like in 2016, which is the first year I got in college, I went to school completely debt free. So I have no student loans. And the reason why I don't have student loans,
Girl, I'm about to get on Joe application today. Like, I'm gonna fill it out. I'm trying to get where you at.
the reason why I don't have student loans is because when I was in high school, my mama told me, she was like, I know you want to go to college, but I don't have no money to send you there. So if you want to go to school, you need to figure out how you're going to get there. So at the time, I did not even think about student loans. I was just like, okay, I need to double down and apply for these scholarships. And thank God, like I got enough scholarships to cover my tuition plus more. So I'm around here getting $5,000 and $7,000 in refund checks. So just imagine me being 18, 19, 20 years old with that much money, right? And not having no financial education. So my senior year, I decided to move off campus. Big mistake. Not really, because without it, I wouldn't be responsible.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. So move off campus. 4 months later, I'm facing eviction because I done blew through my money and I realized I do not know how to manage money. Like it was okay to have that money and do whatever you wanted to do when you didn't have no bills. You was living on campus, eating at the calf. Like you didn't have no responsibility. But now that you have moved off campus and you have all this responsibility, now it's time for the true test. And I failed the test because I was facing eviction, like real life, about to get kicked out of my apartment because I did not have my $889 for my rent money.
Got it.
So, right.
Yeah.
So that season of my life, it birthed the responsible homegirl because I realized that I didn't know a thing about money beyond making it, spending it, and barely saving it. I just didn't know. So when I think about Kiani and I think about the responsible homegirl, Kiani is the person who, like, the totality of Kiani, like, she's still evolving. She still has so much more to learn, so much more to grow. She has came a long way. When I think about the responsible homegirl, I think about a season of Kiani's life that produced like this whole brand that is like created to help young adults become financially responsible and wealth conscious. So they are very interconnected. But yeah, the responsible homegirl, it just always reminds me of that season of my life that I got out of, that I overcame, and now it's job same hurdle that I did.
Beautifully said, beautifully said. So I know you say a lot about financial literacy and finances playing a big part in your journey to sell. With that being said, what would you say has been your biggest lesson so far in being able to brand yourself as the responsible homegirl and also maintain growing financial literacy as a young adult?
Mm-hmm. So many, and you want one?
Oh, girl, you tell us as many as you want because you're dropping some gems. I'm gonna go sit on the page after this because I need to get out of debt immediately. Like we resonate with a lot of stories. I'm like, okay, I've been through that too. Let me see what she can tell us. What can she put us on game with?
So I would say probably one of the biggest things that I've learned, and I just talked about this in a podcast episode, is that like financial education is so important. Sometimes we focus on making more money or getting working 2 and 3 jobs and just doing all of this stuff to make more money. But our downfall is not knowing what to do with the money. So when you start educating yourself on financial literacy and just like changing what you consume, when I was down bad, like literally had nothing and was too ashamed and too prideful to call my mom and ask for help, I was listening to podcasts, reading books, watching YouTube videos, trying to figure out how to make this work. So for anybody listening, like these $1,000 phones that we have, aka these iPhones, put them to use. Like
Girl.
literally change what it is, change what it is that you consume, because when you like get the education, I'm not going to say knowledge is power, I like to say applied knowledge is power. When you get the education, now you have the tools to make a different decision. So am I going to save first, or am I going to go get my nails done? Am I going to save and invest the money, or am I going to go buy a new car knowing that the car that I have is fine? So it's like just changing your mindset when you get the education. Just a couple of other things that I'll throw in there is paying yourself first. I feel like we are taught like we need to work, pay our bills, blah, blah, blah. And then if you have extra, then you save your money. No, you need to save first. Get that out of the way first. And then once you pay your bills, splurge, whatever, all of that other stuff is free game. But most of the time we end up in rough situations because we don't have savings.
Mm-hmm.
We end up having to call a friend or a family member and borrow money or swipe that credit card because we're in a tough spot. And everybody goes through tough times. Like everything that I'm sharing is from my own experience. This is not Google stuff.
No, for sure. That's why we love the responsible homegirl. We need the transparency.
Yeah. Right. And I'm always honest with my story because I don't care anything about telling nobody that I blew through $7,000 in 4 months. Like, yeah, that makes me sick to hear now. But me sharing my story is going to help other people know, like, even though I'm in my 20s, yes, I can still be financially responsible.
For sure, definitely. I think that's beautifully said because honestly, I think finances plays a big role into people's ability, at least from my perspective, to be able to authentically heal and grow. Because things like therapy cost, if we know, like living in this world, it costs more than just being able to go to work, being able to pay your bills.
Right.
Knowing how to move your money is very imperative, and that's something I'm learning not only as a young adult, but also as somebody that's emerging content creator. Because this is not a cheap hobby to pick up, and it is not a cheap hobby to pick up. So you touched on a lot about different points that you've learned and that you can implement as growing financially literate and how you can help yourself with that as a young adult. When it comes to your personal growth, your personal healing, your personal journey with self, what would you say some of the most important things that you learned and how impactful has better managing your money been on your ability to grow and heal as a person?
Okay, so that's 2 parts. So the first one, how has personal growth, like what has personal growth taught me as like I'm growing as a person? It has taught me that it is so important to really get to know yourself on a deeper level. Because if you don't get to know yourself on a deeper level, you can be out here lost for real. Like lost and just letting time pass you by. And I'm just happy, and I speak from a place of privilege and fortunate. Like I know it was nobody but God.
Girl,
because
you better listen. You better tell them about him because he's real.
Nobody but God. Because honestly, Kiani in 2018, like my focus, it just really wasn't on it. It was just like I was always very like goal oriented. I was always like very ambitious, but none of that stuff matters if you don't know like your purpose for real. Like, why am I placed on this earth? So as you get to know yourself on a deeper level, and I feel like the only way you get to know yourself on a deeper level is by building a relationship with God. Amen. Then like you can just be out here like wasting time. And I'm not saying like it's wrong with it because everybody has their own journey and God knows exactly what each one of his children needs. But like if you are more intentional with it, you just get to a place faster. Now, the second portion of that is how has learning how to manage my money better helped me. I feel like it has helped me be more intentional with my goals, like what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I'm spending my money on, what am I saving for, what am I investing for, like different things of that sort. And I'll give you an example. So in 2020, after I graduated, I moved back home.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, no, before I graduated, because remember it was the pandemic. So after spring break, CFC was like, y'all don't have to come back here. We're not opening back up the campus. So I was like, if they're not opening back up the campus, why am I gonna stay in Charleston and struggle to pay rent? I'm gonna go move
Right.
back home with my mama where I don't have to pay no bills. So
Okay.
exactly.
You did. You did.
Right. So as I moved back home and I started, like I say, learning more about financial literacy, I'm gonna build me a foundation. I'm gonna stack my coin because when it's time for me to move out, I want to purchase me a home. And I want it to be a multi-family property where I can stay in one unit and then rent out the other units. So not
Mm-hmm.
only am I building equity by owning a home, but now I have this other rental income coming in. So like that, like if I had not been financially literate, I wouldn't have known that. I probably would have been trying to find my way out of King Street, get me an apartment. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with an apartment, but my goals are now fueling how I move. So as you get to know more, you get to make more intentional decisions with your future.
Awesome. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely response. So I've noticed that you said a lot about the correlation between your upbringing as a child and also just your growth as an adult. How would you say, how impactful is your parents' finances on your finances as a young adult? And that's just in general. You don't have to answer it from a you perspective, but being somebody that did come from a hardworking, somewhat lower to middle class family and identifies with a lot of what you're saying. On my end, I went into college straight off of loans. Like I know nothing. I know nothing but make your ends meet, paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. So hearing you speak is actually resonating a lot with me. And so how would you say,
Yeah.
me growing up with my parents and now branching off on my own, learning my own finances, how would you say like the impact or correlation between your parents' finances and your personal finances work? And where is the middle to being able to expand yourself and will grow and learn financially versus, kind of being, I don't want to say stuck, but just being in that, like, this is what I know, this is what I seen, this is what I come from.
Yeah.
I have a mom I can call to be like, hey, can I borrow $2,000 because I'm behind today on my rent? Can you put
Right.
a car payment for me today? Or so, like, what is the balance? What is the middle to being able to grow and learn from that?
Mm-hmm. So I'll just start off with saying, like, I grew up in a single parent home. It was just my mama and my sisters. And my mom did teach me about money, how to get it. Like, my mom was a single parent. She was very, like, she was always an entrepreneur and she always poured into us, like, anything that you want to do, you can do it. Like, all you got to do is take the first step. But as I was growing, I realized, and even after like my whole situation and my my encounter with like this whole world of personal finance, I learned that getting the money is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, they work hard. They work their 40 hours. Some people work more than 40 hours. Some people got multiple jobs. Getting the money is not enough. Right. 2 jobs, right?
Okay, two
Getting the money is
jobs.
not enough. You have to know what other stuff there is to do with money, because that's what's really going to help you get free, right? And get out of that cycle of just working to pay bills, working to take a vacation every now and then. It's like, no, like we want to do more than that. And we are on earth to do more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the relationship between parents and children is super key. And that's why I love the fact that we are in our 20s having this conversation, because even though our parents couldn't have taught us like the things that we have access to now, we can teach our children something different. Like being financially free and financially independent, it's not always about doing it so our kids won't struggle or so our kids can have more material things. No, it's getting out of the cycle that has been like, oh, we didn't know this. So because we didn't know this, we didn't do nothing different. Now I want us to step into a generation of, okay, I do know this. I did something different. Now I'm going to show you the way so that we can create generational wealth.
Yeah.
We don't have to always struggle and just keep up these same bad like habits that we have. So I know for a fact kids are always watching. My mama, she didn't have to tell me XYZ. Sometimes I just sat back and I saw it from the background. So us educating ourselves financially, that's gonna do a number on not just our kids, but even our family members. Like me starting a responsible home girl, it has helped my family even be more intentional with their money. Like my mom comes to me and asks me different questions like, Key, do you think I should pay off my car right now or should I wait it out? Okay, like mom, how does this go with your goals? All right, Key, do you think I should get this credit card? Like, my mama was the type, like, she was a hairstylist. So she made a whole lot of money. She had cash all the time. Building credit? What? Like,
Yeah.
building credit wasn't even
Yeah,
a thing to her.
yeah. Say, welcome here, because my mom's like, "What you need credit for? We got cash." I'm like, "Girl, cuz
Exactly.
hey, just a paycheck to paycheck cash." Like,
So education, it changes everything, and it helps not just your kids, but it really helps your whole family. And I just try to be the example. Like, I'm not the responsible home. I am the responsible home girl in my family, but I'm not going around trying to be everybody's financial advisor. Like, no,
yeah, for
they
sure.
see my content, they see what it is that I put out, and if they come to me and ask for help, I am always happy to help, and I'm always happy to see that me being the change is kind of like subconsciously helping them be the change.
Well, you definitely do the damn thing, girl. I'm gonna tell you that. You know, you got people root for it because I'm telling you, I be tuned in, I be tapped in, and I be like, you know what? Let me look. Okay, Kiana helping some things. She getting some things done. Definitely, it's a major inspiration. I mean it when I tell you, like, major inspiration in me being able to start talks with Tay. The consistency was there. Just seeing someone that when it's like y'all come from lightliness of more so the college Charleston background and stuff, and just really seeing you spread your wings for there and go after your goals definitely is a major inspiration. So major shout out to you. That is
Thank you,
exactly why you are a hometown hero, girl, because you is doing it, holding it down for King Street, South Carolina.
Yeah, I gotta put us on the map, girl.
All righty, Kiani. So we're getting ready to wrap this interview up. But before we get ready to go, before we get ready to tell our lovely viewers goodbye today, you dropped a lot of gems. You're giving us a lot of solid information, a lot of beautiful information about yourself, financial literacy. If you could lead the people, whether it's a young person trying to achieve financial literacy, a young person just trying to chase their goals, make a difference, or be a difference in their life, what advice or what is something that you would give or tell them and being able to do that, achieve that, or just really take that first step? Because as we know, that first step is actually the hardest step. Is the hardest step. It's that first step. What would you tell them being able to get themselves out there and do that?
So it's gonna be something that I always say, and it's just with exposure, execution, and consistency, there is absolutely nothing you can't do. So number one, exposure. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. You have to get exposed to some new stuff because you don't know what you don't know. So earlier I referenced us having these $1,000 iPhones. Please use your iPhone for more than just talking, texting, and FaceTiming and scrolling on IG.
Okay,
Like, use your phone.
Okay.
You real life have to get exposed, because when you get exposed to something different, now your mind is saying, "Ooh, if they can do that, I can do that." Or, "Ooh, that's interesting. Let me do some more research." So exposure is the first thing. Execution. Nobody is going to give you your dream. Nobody is going to give you, honestly, anything but God. Nobody's not going to give you nothing. And even God, He wants your participation. You need to do something.
They tell
So
you
you
faith
can't
without
sit.
works is dead.
It's dead. It's dead. So you can't sit back and say, "I want to be financially free. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to be whatever it is, fill in the blank," and not take a step. Like Taylor said, starting is mostly like the hardest part, but I would challenge that and say showing up consistently is harder, because sometimes in the beginning, like, you don't see the needle moving. When I first started a responsible home girl, nobody was checking for me. I had 2 likes, 3 likes, 5 likes. Like, it didn't matter. I was passionate about what it is that I wanted to do, what change I wanted to see in the world. And that's why almost 2 years in, I'm still going strong. I'm still showing up consistently. The last thing it ties into my point before is consistency. So with exposure, execution, and consistency, there is nothing you can't do. So you got to show up consistently, because as you show up consistently, you learn more stuff. As you show up consistently, you get better. As you show up consistently, people get to see that you are actually serious about what it is that you're doing. And I'm not saying do stuff for other people, but if we be real about it, our gifts, our talents, everything that we have is not for us.
Amen.
Like, we get to benefit from it, but it's really to serve and help other people. So you have to remember that the reason that I'm doing this is for other people, but I get to reap the benefits, and other people get to reap the benefits as well. So that's just the words of wisdom that I have with exposure, execution, and consistency. There is absolutely nothing you can't do.
Thank you so much, Kiani, for those beautiful words. Girl, you inspired me. You done inspired me sitting here. I was like, okay, yeah, we about to have a good little financial lyric conversation. I done got a whole new motivation for keep it going with season 2. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
Before
for
we get
sure.
before we do get ready to go, Kiani, can you please let the people know how we can find you? Where can we find your social media at? How can they get connected to the Responsible Homegirl so they can be locked in and tuned in?
Yeah, so I am the responsible homegirl on everything. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I have a podcast where I consistently share like financial education. I do interviews as well. And I always tell people like, do not be afraid to slide in people DMs. Like I'm the slide in your DMs queen. So if you
Okay.
are consuming some of my content and you got a question or you've been working on some stuff, but it's still not clicking to you, don't be afraid to slide in my DMs because I am like literally doing this to help you. So slide in my DMs. Like I say, I'm the responsible homegirl on everything.
All right, then y'all hear that at the Responsible Homegirl. Make sure y'all lock in with her, tapping with her, and follow her so y'all can continue to keep up with this beautiful journey that she's on, learn a little bit more financial literacy and a little bit more about being yourself and getting into your purpose. And again, you guys, this is Talk Sweet Tay. This was our very first Hometown Hero series, and I'm so glad. It was a beautiful episode, and we thank you so much for coming on, Kiani. And we hope to have you back. Hopefully, I can bring you in on Wind Down Wednesday. We can get a little bit more personable and talk about a couple more things.
Yes, thank you for having me, sis. And please keep going because my voice is not enough. The voices that are like, on the main stages, the big stages right now, they're not even enough. Like, there are people who need your voice. There are people who need Talk for Say. So please don't stop. Like, the people need it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I definitely needed that.